Hey, and welcome to the 125th edition of Quotes, Quibble and Question, your weekly leadership development fix from me, Matt the Coaching Guy. This week I focus on coaching is like medicine. And I was thinking about this last week. Coaching is definitely like medicine. It doesn't always taste great. Sometimes you don't want to take it. Sometimes you convince yourself you don't even need it. And sometimes you say you'll start tomorrow. And yet when you do take it properly, surprise, surprise, it works. Not because it's got some magic properties, but because it addresses something you've been living with for a while. Most of the coaching I do isn't about strategy. It's about helping people get out of their own way. It's about hearing their own words reflected back to them. It's about holding up a mirror and saying, listen to what you just said. Over time, we create a version of ourselves that helps us survive and succeed. The driven one, the fixer, the rescuer, the one who always has the answers, and the one who never shows doubt. And these identities serve us to feel great about where we've come from. But that's where coaching starts to feel uncomfortable, because now we're not just building on strength, we're questioning disruptive patterns. So here's your quotes for this week. The unexamined life is not worth living, Socrates. Knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom, Aristotle. We cannot change what we are not aware of, Sheryl Sandberg. And until we make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate, Carl Jung. So your quibble this week is, I know the answers. And I hear this lots from people who do need support. And it's usually true of everyone. You do know. You know you're avoiding the hard conversations. You know you're overworked because slowing down feels unsafe. You know that you step in too quickly instead of letting your team figure it out. The issue isn't self-awareness. It's about being able to process your thoughts into actions, break habits of a lifetime, and challenge perspective. Coaching interrupts the patterns long enough for you to actually choose something different. And there are moments that can feel painful to ride out, but that's where the growth happens. So here's a few things I see in leaders. They're explaining instead of reflecting, staying busy instead of being honest, protecting identity that no longer serves them, and mistaking feedback for criticism. None of this makes you broken. There's nothing to fix. It makes you human. But left unchecked, these patterns create a ceiling which you need to break through. So this is where coaching really does help. A good coach doesn't give an answer that you don't have. They slow you down, they listen carefully, they notice when your tone changes, and they challenge the sentence you rushed past. And often the breakthrough sounds like, I never said this out loud before. And that's the medicine working. You already knew, you just hadn't let yourself feel it. So if you want to get ahead of yourself this week, pay attention to what you're repeatedly complaining about. There's usually ownership hiding in there. Notice where you say, that's just how I am. That sentence is often a defense mechanism. And ask yourself, if I'm honest, what conversations am I avoiding now? Sit with the answer, don't solve it, just notice it. These are likely conversations that you need to have with yourself first and foremost. So the question of the day is, if growth requires you to let go of a version of yourself that once protected you, are you ready to outgrow who you've been? It won't always taste nice, but it might be exactly what you need. So thanks for listening to the newsletter this week. If you have any other subjects you'd like to hear more about, do drop me an email at matt@thecoachingguy.co.uk. And if you're ready to step into coaching and a new version of you stands the other side of the next 90 days, book your free consultation, links in the bio. Have a great week. Bye for now.